They're good.
All right, and we are live with another episode of the She-Hulk After Show. It's episode 2. We're talking about episode 2. We just watched episode 2 that dropped at midnight Pacific time, and we are here at 1 a.m. Pacific time to talk about She-Hulk episode 2. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira, and, we got some cool people here. We got co-host Paul Lau. Paul Lau, what's up, man?
Hey, everybody, catch us before Discovery HBO cancels us.
Yes, please. I hope we're not on this show is not on the chopping block. What's that guy's name? What's that guy's name? What's the Discovery guy's name? Zaslav. It's Victor Zaslav. Because he's killing everything. Every show he kills, he puts a little tally on himself.
Yeah. Next stockholders meeting, you're just gonna see the tally marks all along his
That's
back.
all.
Like, what is
Has nobody made that joke yet?
No, you're the first one. I think.
That's crazy. Every show, every movie that he chops, it's a new tally. Did you hear? Okay, we're getting
Cartoon Network.
We're 5 seconds into the show. We're getting way off topic. Paul Lau's my co-host.
Sorry, too hot.
And true. And I want to introduce my guest for today. We got Brian Long, aka Captain Comic Rex. What's up, Captain Comic?
Not much. Happy to be here talking about She-Hulk. This is a character I'm a big fan of, so I'm excited to get into this conversation with you guys.
Yeah. Question. I just realized this, and you've been on this show many times. Not this show specifically, but the Keeg and Comic Talk a lot. Is it Captain Comic Rex or is it Captain Comic Rex?
Trying to figure out how to put the emphasis on the right syllable.
Is Comic Rex one?
Yes.
Like go.
Yeah, you know what?
And
Captain
it's
Comic Rex. I've always said it as Captain Comic Rex. So I think Comic Rex is like one idea,
right?
One
because it's comic recommendations,
right?
And you're the captain. You're the captain
not
of
like
Comic Rex.
Terrible Lizard, yeah. Exactly.
I thought you meant Rex, you said, those clankers.
Right. Yeah, like King. Oh, I thought you meant King of the Lizards.
Captain Comic.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, for anyone out there watching the live stream, which includes For the Love of Comics 55. We got Michael Mead out there in the comments saying the dream team here.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you for watching. We are live streaming to twitch.tv/The Keeg Show and youtube.com/The Keeg. It is a good time. We are live streaming to 2 awesome platforms, Twitch and YouTube. And, if you're listening to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Is that everything? Anyway, that's 5. Anyway, whatever. Brian, you were saying you're a big She-Hulk fan?
Yeah. I've read a lot of the, major runs of She-Hulk. I'm enjoying the current book quite a bit. I think she's an interesting character because it plays with something I love in superhero comics, which is taking the fantastical elements and putting them into our mundane reality, asking weird questions about what would it really be like to live in these superhero universes, but not from the dark and gritty perspective, but from the just sort of like banality of day-to-day life. And I think the show's doing an interesting job of capturing that so far.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Michael Mead out there that the only issue that I have with She-Hulk is the same issue he's saying he has. The episodes are too short. This is something that I brought up after episode 1. I was like, I liked episode 1, but I obviously note that the story is missing some things, because as episodes do, like, you learn more and more, right? You get more and more involved with the show as episodes go. But, like, the first week, episode 1 dropped, and it was so short, and this is a 9-episode series, I was like, why couldn't they drop, like, 3 episodes, 2 episodes even, on that first night? And it would have felt a little bit...
Yeah, I think we're spoiled by the modern era of streaming a little bit, where we kind of love our binging, right? Where we like want everything. But I think we also have to look at this from the perspective of like, this is a half-hour sitcom. This is like sitting down to watch The Simpsons every week, or another short show like or Seinfeld or something like that, where you get your 30-minute chunk, and then you got to wait till next week for the next shenanigans to ensue.
Okay, I'm gonna judo wrestle your reasoning.
Let's go.
Okay, so it's not about binging. I'm just saying it's a 9-episode season that, like, WandaVision. What did we figure out? That they released the first 2 episodes?
There is the first 2, yeah.
Kind of like that, right? That was a 9-episode season, right? You know?
It felt long.
I would argue that I think they did that with WandaVision because that first WandaVision episode is so rooted in the sitcom world. Like, you don't get any hint of the real world in that episode until the last, like, 5 seconds where you see the sword hand observing what they're doing. That episode is pure sitcom world. And I almost feel like they did that deliberately to sort of let people know, like, hey, the show's not going to be entirely this. Because the second episode is where you start getting some of the weirdness of the reality breaking apart, becoming explicit. So I feel like they did that to sort of, maybe appease is not the right word, but to sort of reassure people, like, the whole show's not going to be an I Love Lucy pastiche.
Right. Yeah. Paul?
You know that She-Hulk they did a test audience, and they actually added that intro with, like, an orange or like a quick origin story with Bruce because audiences were confused. So that's why the CG is kind of a little rushed.
Well, it's but more than that. The whole first episode was totally different. They were not going to do the origin story until episode 8. Right. So they totally, like, they moved that origin to the first episode and then added, I guess, that framing device, which is why I think that last fight with Titania is a little, like, weirdly edited. I think they probably had a longer sequence that they had to chop down, maybe for time or something. Yeah. And didn't have time to do reshoots. But yeah, the origin was originally not going to be until the penultimate episode, which I think is crazy. I'm glad they didn't do that, because I think it's like, let's just get it out of the way, because I feel like the way it was presented in this episode, where she's briefly like, I don't want to talk about it, I'm glad we didn't have to spend weeks with people theorizing, how did She-Hulk become She-Hulk? Is it the multiverse? Like, no, it's basically the same origin from the comics. I'm glad they didn't waste our time with making us think it could have been something else and just got right to it and said, all right, She-Hulk, let's do the lawyer stuff now.
Yeah, especially for oh gosh, what's her name?
Tatiana Maslany?
Thank you, Tatiana. Yeah, Tatiana Maslany. like her character, if they, like, did, like, a slow crawl or try to do moody stuff, like, she's best when she is breaking the fourth wall, being casual, and her interactions with each person, like, in the show. I don't think we've seen someone like that. Not really. Right. It's either like combative, stoic warrior, or quippy and kind of dumb. And this is a person that's not only reluctant, they actually have, like, options to pursue her career. Right. You know, right. Parker is just like a kid. You know, same with Miss Marvel. He has to go to school. Yeah.
We have not really seen adult characters in the MCU have to deal with the duality of being a superhero. Because for many of them, their job is being a superhero. You know, like Captain America, his job is being Captain America. Tony Stark, even though he has a job, he's like a billionaire CEO that is the company that creates the suits. Like, no one has had to really struggle with, I have a work life and I'm being expected to step up and do this superhero thing. How do I balance both of those things?
Oh, and you said sitcom earlier. I thought it was because it was Larry Appleton from Perfect Strangers as the dad. I don't know if you guys caught that.
I didn't. Yeah, I feel like I've seen that actor in things before, but I don't.
What'd you say?
Yeah. The dad when they have the family dinner. That's Larry Appleton from Perfect Strangers. Remember Cousin Belky from?
Yes. I recognized the actor, and I recognized him as I saw the back of his head walking towards that door. I was like, I know what face is on the other end of that head. And then it was, and I'm like, I don't remember his name, but he's been in stuff as an adult.
Yeah. Well, it's like Tim Roth. He kind of like dropped off the face of the earth after, I don't know, Hulk, right?
He's been doing a lot of indie movies, and
Okay.
When was that show Lie to Me or whatever it was?
Yeah.
How long was that show post Incredible Hulk, or I don't remember.
I'm sure it was.
Aired.
Sure it
Probably.
was.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk's what,
Let's hang on that.
2009, right?
Yeah.
Um,
What did you guys think about Abomination in this episode?
I mean, we only really got Emil Blonsky though.
we got
right.
a clip at the very end from Shang-Chi. So
I guess I should say, what do you think about Emil Blonsky then in this episode?
I think he's faking it.
I have that feeling too.
He mentioned 7 soulmates, right?
Right.
I don't think it's 7 girls that want to be with him for the rest of time.
I don't think he means. I think he means like what's the word I'm looking for? Fellow inmates who have shared his experiences. That
I think it's the Thunderbolts.
I think it's that, or it's. I mean, not to get into vague spoilers, but in the trailers, there's shots where he's like with a support group of a bunch of Z-list Marvel villains. I think it could be those guys.
Killer Shrike, Tiger Shark. I'm trying to think of Z-list. Like what?
It's like. Should I say it? I don't want to say it and spoil it.
Masters of Evil, the Wrecking Crew.
Frogman.
Oh yeah, Frogman.
He's in the
Yes,
trailer.
there's other ones in some of the trailers.
Oh, is
like,
it?
Oh wow!
Bing, bing, bing.
I have no idea what you're trying to do.
Anyone watching the live stream knows exactly what I'm trying to do. If you're listening to the podcast, you don't know. You don't know. But
all right. Vague spoilers. Mute or skip ahead. The Porcupine.
Oh yeah.
Matador and Man-Bull.
Oh yeah.
Were ones that have been confirmed to be appearing.
The guy who plays Man-Bull is one of the guys. He's on TikTok. He's on TikTok. He's black albino. And so he has a TikTok all about his experience. He's a comedian too, but he has TikTok about his experience and whatnot. And it was kind of cool when he was like, "Oh yeah, that's me." That's like that was me. So you guys
do you know what his? Do you know what his? I'll look it up. I'll have to look it up.
I forgot his name. I see him at the Comedy Store back when I was still doing stand up. So.
Oh yeah. He one of his jokes is also that like when Black Lightning came out, people kept asking whether Tobias Whale was him, and he was like, "No, that's the other guy."
Yeah. That's great.
I'm trying to look him up, but I'm just getting results from the television series Bull.
Oh yeah,
And,
no,
that is not what I'm looking for.
no.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if I buy Emil Blonsky's whole I've changed routine. I don't know. There's just something. Maybe I'm being too judgmental of him, but I don't know. There's just something. I don't know if I trust it. I don't know if I trust it.
I like how he broke down his like lineage, where he's like Russian, British raised. It was very like Trevor Slattery of him.
I felt like it was more like the writers being like, "You're right. Emil Blonsky in the comics is Russian. Tim Roth is British. How do we explain this like weird kind
We're
of
not going to
thing?"
try.
I do feel like I need to interject about this. That was a line in The Incredible Hulk. And I know this because when I was watching it in theaters, I had the same thought you had, Dimitri.
Yeah.
Which was, because there's like, when he first gets introduced and gets off the plane, one of the generals is like, born in Russia, raised in Britain. And I was like, you didn't have to specify that he was born in Russia and raised in Britain. His name's not like Dmitry Nabokov. Like, he has a normal weird name. He doesn't have to be Russian. He could just be a British guy.
Well, yeah, that's also the thing. Emil Blonsky, yeah, you could just say he's British. I don't.
Yeah.
The Russian
like
part can be
Russian
evident by his name. Like, but even if his name is Russian, it's just he's British. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It reminds me of Sean Bean in Goldeneye. He's like, yes, he is a Lien's Cossack. Oh, yes, the Cossacks. I see. Giannis. It's like, okay. Well, that's integral to the story, apparently.
Yeah.
As a double agent. Whereas this is kind of
find it very funny that line that has been stuck in my brain because I thought it was so weird got a call back in this episode of She-Hulk.
Oh, the one where the guy's like, oh, I see a girl over there. I got to go talk to it.
Yeah.
What is that?
That was so weird.
That guy's a real piece of garbage.
What did that mean?
Talk to it like an object.
Yeah.
No, I got that. But was that a reference to something else or just a bad thing to say?
Oh, yeah, it's just bad.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was a reference to something else that happened.
I see Pennywise over there. I'm gonna go talk to it. No, I don't think.
Yeah. None. Yeah. I like the actress Ginger Gonzaga.
Mhm.
She was in there was a short-lived miniseries on ABC called it was some dating thing. Some dating multicam sitcom kind of multi-layered kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, and then she was on Wrecked. And then now she's on this. I like her. I want to see more of her. I just don't see a point to her right now.
You know what I was hoping is when Jen was looking for jobs, she stopped by Foggy Nelson's office.
I thought that would pop up too. I thought
because that would be like the last place
for that one. That would be difficult, but yeah.
But they're gonna pop up, right?
Oh yeah.
We know Daredevil's gonna pop up, but like Foggy has to pop up. We haven't seen Foggy in a long time.
What was the guy's name from Jessica Jones? The one that like wore the suit and he kind of was like
it's I know that the actor's name is Ika Darville, but
yeah. Remember he was like mind controlled to be like an addict.
Yeah.
And then
I forget his name.
Her
he was
and then
working for Horvath or Horvath?
Yeah.
Horvath.
Okay.
No.
Trinity.
Carrie Ann Moss.
Hogarth.
Yeah.
Who's Horvath? Who's Horvath then?
I think you think
Horvath.
Yeah, Molecule Man.
Wait, what?
No.
Molecule Man's not. No.
Korvac. You're right. No, I'm sorry. Korvac. That's
Malcolm was her neighbor. Her name was Malcolm.
Malcolm, right. I was like, oh, maybe he like took over Hogarth. Not that people would remember her, but
oh, I would love to see Hogarth. I would love to see a lawyer showdown between Hogarth, Matt Murdock, and Jen Walters.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Didn't she die though?
That'd be fun.
At the end or not?
I did not see the third season of Jessica Jones.
No,
so
you're thinking about Sigourney Weaver's character in Defenders, right?
No.
She died,
She had like cancer or something.
Yeah.
Or no, she had a tumor, something.
Yeah, that's right. And then
not tumor.
But she was trying to find the cure, right?
Yeah, she had a debilitating like paralyzing disease. I can't remember.
Oh, it was like multiple sclerosis or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
I can't recall.
We're doing deep digs. The episode is not that.
All over the
we are all over the place here on this one.
Treat everything like WandaVision.
It's just I like this show. I do like this show. I just wish it was longer.
Ladies,
that's
fellas.
what I want.
I think that's kind of a good thing, though, right? Like you're not in a situation where you're like, "Oh, I wish this episode would end already." Wanting more of something is almost a good thing, right?
Yeah, but bringing it back actually to what you were saying earlier is that like a sitcom is like 30 minutes. Yeah. Like we associate different genres with different lengths of time, right?
Sure.
But like it is a sitcom, but it's also not a sitcom. Like roughly the Marvel formula has been. Well, actually, I don't know what the Marvel formula is, but like on TV, like a superhero show is an hour long. Like you don't have superhero shows that are half an hour long.
WandaVision was half an hour.
Okay, yes, but that's well.
That was
some episodes were somewhere.
In the beginning, it was half an hour because of the sitcom related kind of thing to it, and then it became longer and longer. They got to 45. They got to 45.
That long.
They got to
when
finale did.
The second's the last finale.
Yeah, maybe those like last two, but that was largely like majority of it was 30-ish minutes. Because there's the like 10 minutes of credits on Disney Plus.
Sure. It was pretty packed though.
You're right. They were all roughly 30 minutes. 21 minutes, then 28, and then 24, 26, 32, 28, 37, 41. So you're right. But what I mean is, what I was trying to say before this whole Disney Plus Marvel thing. Like, superhero shows versus, like, yes, sitcoms are 30 minutes. You don't have an hour-long sitcom, right? Arrested Development is also 30 minutes, right? That's a sitcom. So, like, like even something like Arrested Development, which I think they, whatever. Neither here nor there. But superhero shows tend to be an hour long, and so this just seems a little... Because this isn't purely a sitcom. This has, like, superhero elements and whatever to it. right?
Sure, but I think that what we're dealing with here is a show that I mean, this is kind of the meta joke in the show, right? Is that Jen wants this to be a lawyer show, but it's insisting on being a superhero show, right? Like
Yeah.
the first episode, she looks at the camera and she's like, "This is a lawyer show. I'm not going to be She-Hulk. I'm just going to be a lawyer, okay? Bye." And then they're like, "By the way, when you come to work, you need to be She-Hulk." So she's being constantly put in this position where people are pushing her into the superhero spotlight, even though she doesn't want to or she's not ready to do that yet.
Law shows, though, are half an hour long.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's, I don't know how long, like, the average episode of Law and Order
How long was
is.
Ally McBeal? Actual question.
That had to be a 30-minute show on average, because that was a sitcom, too.
That was a sitcom.
It's sitcom drama, but yeah.
I think, so it says the episodes are approximately 45 minutes long, excluding commercials.
For Ally McBeal?
Yeah, Boston Public, Ally McBeal. I watched all those shows.
Yeah.
I think, though, with comedy, you want to get in and get out, right? You don't want to overstay your welcome or drag out the joke too long. And
yeah, but this isn't, I mean, it's a comedic show, but it's not a comedic show. It's not following a sitcom. It's not following a sitcom writing style. It's
sure.
To be fair,
what?
It's pretty tongue in cheek so far.
No,
with Titania.
I mean,
and then,
plot wise, like the formula for each episode is not a sitcom formula. It's a superhero formula. It's a drama formula. It links to the next episode. It's not.
I'm curious though with what we've heard about, like all these like random weirdo Marvel characters popping up. I imagine what will probably end up being the case is that the story of Emil and Jen will kind of be the underarching, like long form story, and then we'll probably get cases of the week throughout. Okay. Like I would not be surprised if like Frogman is a case, if like there's Daredevil. Like a guy who like jumps out of a building. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Daredevil is involved in a case somehow, and that's one episode. Like I can foresee it being the sort of thing where they do like a case of the week structure, which might feel a little bit more sitcom-y. Because I think what you're describing is, correct me if I'm wrong, Dimitri, the idea of like every sitcom episode, you get introduced to like the problem at the start. There's an A plot that deals with that problem. There's a B plot that maybe thematically links in. They both get wrapped up at the end, and then you move on to next week, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I could foresee it being a sort of like more episode case of the week structure going forward now that she's established at GLH and K, or GLK and H. And now that she's there, we'll be like, okay, here's your weird case, and then dealing with Emil for the rest of the season as a subplot.
Yeah. Did you see the Shooby Doo about GLK? And then Holloway is just the extra. It was really good.
Lieber and Kurtzberg.
Yeah. So Jim Lee, Jack Kirby, and
no. Lieber is Stan Lee's birthday.
Or sorry, Stan Lee, not Jim. We talked about Jim Lee earlier, and that's why I said that.
What are the
GLK and H?
G is for Goodman, which is Martin Goodman, the founder of Marvel Comics.
Okay.
L is for Lieber, which is Stan Lee's birth name. Mm-hmm. And K is for Kurtzberg, which is Jack Kirby's birth name.
Do they say that in this show?
That's what it is in the Dan Hulk, She-Hulk comic.
Oh, okay. And what's the H?
This is the law firm.
Holloway's
Holloway, the boss.
Is the boss, like the actual character.
Oh.
That we see. Because it's got like a slash, so it's and Holloway.
Yeah. He was a partner added on later on, it seems. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And in the Dan Slott She-Hulk comic, there's an episode or an issue where she meets them, and GL and K are all like in shadow, but they're clearly meant to be caricatures of Martin Goodman, Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby. When you look at them, you're like, oh, that's clearly who it is. And then Holloway's like clearly seen in the light. But yeah, it's meant to be an homage to the three core founding creative voices of Marvel Comics.
Yeah. Okay. Both those guys are both veterans. You knew that, right?
Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Wait, Stan Lee was a veteran?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
But I know Kirby.
Yeah, I think he was he was like a repairman in the army. It was one of those things where I don't think he saw combat.
Yeah.
But he was like involved in like
it's service.
The core in some way. Yeah. versus Jack Kirby, who supposedly like killed Nazis with his bare hands.
That's why his forearm's so hairy, and he always has a cigar. It's like I can only.
He's the thing.
He is, yeah, he is
of
the
course.
Thing, yeah.
Not a jet pilot, but sure.
Duck Dodger's out there. What's up to Matt? Duck Dodger says, it's a little weird. I've worked in law offices and usually paralegals don't go to court with the attorneys. Weird that she would be there. But also, she's her friend. So maybe it's part, like, okay, paralegals don't normally go. But, like, also, let's invite my friend to the courtroom. She's there with me, you know?
Yeah, I love the joke where she was like, I need to hire my own paralegal that's not a ghost. He's like, I literally don't care who you are.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Like, that's the one thing you're negotiating, and then you're like, oh, you would have, oh, that, I could have gotten that for free. Okay, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Didn't need
One
us.
thing I got excited about is that, have you any of you read the Dan Slott She-Hulk run?
No,
no.
I can get on it.
So it's very good. It's very good, and this series definitely seems to be really inspired by that, because that's the run where Jen doing superhuman law is really brought to the forefront.
Yeah.
Because in previous runs she had been a lawyer, but like John Byrne, if you read the John Byrne run, he like kind of forgets she has a real job. She's mostly just doing superhero stuff in that run.
Sure.
But that's the run where she's like really a lawyer for superheroes and stuff. And one of the running gags they have in it is that Marvel Comics, because they exist in the Marvel universe, can be used as legal evidence because they are real world accounts of what the superheroes did. And if you look while she's walking through the office, there's a room, and in that room you can see comic books in shelves on one of the walls. So I'm really hoping there's a scene in one of the episodes where she starts digging through a long box to find evidence of something that happened in one of the films.
I'm now imagining court cases like for the precedent. So it'd just be like Reed Richards versus Magneto, the like ultimate nullifier, but it's like a wooden gun incident. Why does my power not work over your metal gun? That's because Magneto, it's made of wood. Arrest this man.
Are you talking about the cartoon? That cartoon?
Yeah, the
episode?
cartoon. Yeah.
But then like Magneto could have just like
not that Magneto.
That Magneto got broken just by being confused about a wooden gun. He could have undone the handcuffs. He could have thrown the police car.
No, but he was so...
He's just like so insecure. He's like, you got me.
Damn you,
I'm
you're powerful.
I'm unfit to be homo superior.
So good.
So with this, yeah, we didn't really get any punching or whatnot, and I'm fine with that. Do I want to see a more Emil Blonsky abomination? Yeah.
I like the scale.
What's the scale?
So she stands up as She-Hulk, and then when she's getting fired, she falls down because she's not the same metabolism or the same height.
Yeah.
So that's
she was leaning on the high table, and then when she gets small, she tries to do it again and misses completely.
Yeah.
I love those details.
She's really good. Tatiana Maslany?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying she's
I started the episode like that.
A comedic actress, but she's hitting all the comedic stuff the way it's supposed to be, right?
Right.
She's
I think it's that thing where sometimes good actors can be also good at comedy, because good comedy comes from truth of character more than just being funny, right?
Yeah.
She's humorful, though. That's the thing. Whereas
humorous, or is humorful a word?
It can be, right?
All right, let's make it up. Let's make it up.
Well,
yeah, let's do it.
Adam Driver
is a word.
Yeah, Adam Driver is like humorless in the fact, like deliberately, but because he delivers everything with yelling and angst, and he goes all the way on his SNL stuff.
Or he does a deadpan. He does deadpan.
Yeah, deadpan. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
he's not like an active participant.
Adam Driver is someone who has great comedic timing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You see it on SNL. Tatiana Maslany wasn't on SNL, was she?
I don't know. She should be.
I don't think she was. She will. She's bound to be on SNL coming up. Because the new season should be starting up soon.
Yeah. If you ever watched Orphan Black, she had the one clone that was like a suburban soccer mom. And the comedy that she developed with that character was like one of the highlights of that show, because she was just so like tightly wound and high strung, and it became like a comedic highlight of that series. That's one of the best characters that she played in that show. So I think she has a good understanding of character, and comedy really comes from that understanding.
Here's my hot take, is that you're not a good actor unless you can do comedy also. Hot take.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
It's because I think comedy is just like it's just as valid playing a comedic character as a sad character, a happy character, or whatever. Comedy is not like dance. Mm-hmm. It's not like it shouldn't be an extra skill. It should just be a part of being human, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's also something that's
like learning to juggle.
It's also something that's so subjective that it makes it, I would argue, sometimes more challenging to pull off.
I would definitely say it's more challenging, but also like
because not everything's gonna be the same amount of funny to everybody.
Right. And I mean, I'm not saying that somebody has to be like crazy humorous, but like if they're given the lines that are funny, let's just say, they should be able to deliver them so they work.
Right. And I think she's doing a really good job, in particular with the fourth wall breaks. Like I think a lesser performer would like really ham those up.
Yeah.
But I think she's done a good job of making them like subtle so that they're funny, but they also help to endear us to the character.
Yeah.
The quick one of the episode was, hey, look, Emil sent me a nice haiku and a very heartfelt letter. I mean, we fought so long ago. I'm literally a different person. And then she turns to the camera. Ha! Because it's a different actor. It's Eric. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that joke.
Yeah. You have to pay attention.
Like again, she kind of like looks at it, she's like, haha, and then she goes back to talking.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was what they're joking. I just thought it's a little different person because Hulk has a personality now. And he's
different actor.
No, it's because it was Ed Norton and not.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, good. Thank you guys for bringing that up.
And then speaking of that, the ship. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to shout out one of my trivia teams that I talked to today about She-Hulk. Shout out to the smooth brains out there. They were like, because
amazing name.
One of them was like, what do you think about She-Hulk? Like what this show is it too cheesy? Is it whatever? Don't you think it's too cheesy? Whatever. And then I'm like, I mean, it is kind of cheesy because you have this Ferris Bueller kind of element to it, right? The fourth wall kind of makes it a little bit more cheesier, but that's like a little bit of levity. I'm fine with that. And then they brought up Deadpool, and I was like, well, technically in the comics, She-Hulk broke the fourth wall before Deadpool. Deadpool's not the only character that breaks the fourth wall. And like that was a learning moment for them, but they're a great team, and but like people don't know that, right? People are gonna compare it to Deadpool, who breaks the fourth wall, but like, breaking the fourth wall isn't like a novel idea.
Howard the Duck, Dupe, does Impossible Man do it?
Dupe only breaks the fourth wall because of the whole reality show kind of stuff, right?
I'm sure Impossible Man has broken the fourth wall.
That's
he would do.
Impossible Man.
But She-Hulk's...
Oh, the green one?
Yeah.
Yeah. She-Hulk's fourth wall breaking in the John Byrne run was like so much more than just looking at the camera and making jokes. She was like doing meta jokes about the nature of how comics work.
Yeah. Right.
Like she would be like, oh, we got to get there quickly. I'm just going to jump between panels. And she would Byrne would literally draw her in the gutter, like walking from one place to another so she could get there quicker. Or she'd be like chasing someone. She would literally rip the panel up, run through the ads on the next page, and then rip it again to like jump back into panel. So it's like, Deadpool does a lot of I know I'm in a comic, blue, blue, blue. But the She-Hulk fourth wall breaking was like, we're going to deconstruct the entire artifice of how
she runs into those Hostess Pie ads. Doom needs his apple Hostess Pie.
It's one of those, you ever get a comic from the 70s or 80s and there's just a list of all the comics that a shop has for sale? It was one of those, and they literally wrote out a bunch of fake comics and blurbs for like a 2-page spread. It's crazy the level of commitment they had to the bit.
So good. It's like a Simpsons gag.
Yeah.
I like that gag.
I feel like because I haven't brought this up, but I'm a continuity whore. I love continuity. I need it to be clean, In my head, her running through between the panels is just it's more of an expression of idea than it is. She's not ambush bug.
Sure.
Right.
She's not a reality warper.
Right. It's just a expression of her traveling.
Is
right?
Gwenpool a reality warper?
No, Gwenpool's premise is that she's from our world and she's a comic book fan.
And she knows
she just knows everybody, their secret identities, everything. And so she knows what to track down and where and how and whatnot.
Okay.
She's like a knowledge of tropes that kind of give her a meta awareness of everything that's going on.
She's also a ninja, like competent enough where she can hold her own. Like, I guess everybody, with swords.
But speaking to the idea of the show being kind of goofy, I think the kind of how would I say this rebuttal I would have to that is this show has really captured the tone of what the She-Hulk comics are like. Like majority of her solo runs, with some exceptions, are largely workplace comedies. Whether that's the current Rainbow Role run, which is kind of like a romantic comedy a little bit, the Charles Soule run, the Dan Slott run, they're largely like comedic books. So it's one of those things where the MCU as a whole has a sort of lighter comedic tone. So it's this weird thing where like She-Hulk comes along and is literally a sitcom by nature, but she feels less unique because there is so much comedy already in the MCU. So it's this kind of like weird double-edged sword where it's like, I'm like, oh, as someone who's a fan of the She-Hulk comics, this is exactly the tone I want to see. But on the flip side of that, to a person who might not be as familiar with the comics, it seems like, oh, this seems just like what we always get, but maybe a little bit campier or leaning more into comedy.
I mean, some naysayers are essentially, they don't view this stylistic choice as a choice, but rather an inevitability of the slippery slope of the MCU's comedic bits.
Right.
That this show is a culmination of the comedic choices that have happened over the increasing amount of comedic choices that have happened over 15 years, as opposed to a deliberate choice of genre.
Right. And it's ironic because if the tone of the MCU had been, I don't want to say darker, but maybe hadn't had as much of a comedic edge as it has had, this show would probably stand out a lot more as something that, like you were saying, feels more like a deliberate choice rather than just part of the tonal continuity that we've already established.
Right.
Which isn't the show's fault. So I want to be clear. Like, I don't blame the show for that. The show's doing what I think it should be doing.
Think about the comparison of tones between the Snyderverse and Shazam. I feel like that's probably like a big jump, right?
That's course correction, though, right?
It could have been course correction.
Or they were just throwing.
Shazam.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't think Shazam should be
dark and gritty.
Like even every version of Captain Marvel has always been a sort of like more heartfelt, more all ages friendly tone. And the Snyderverse, I can't envision a Shazam in the Snyder. I can't.
New 52 Shazam was kind of a dick, right?
Yeah.
The post.
I don't acknowledge New 52 Shazam.
The animated Shazam, where they did Flashpoint, and like Wonder Woman kills all the kids by lasso truthing Billy.
Is that what happens in that?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think that happens in the real dark. Flashpoint too, in the comics too.
Yeah, it does. But I'm just like, wherever you can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so dark.
And there was a good chunk of time where I wasn't buying any DC comics, and this is reminding me of why. So,
I mean, I stopped at New 52 because it was just horrible. Duck Dodgers says, well, a couple of things. Duck Dodgers is saying, I don't think most of the television series have been strong comedies. That's what Duck Dodger says.
I would largely agree with that.
But a lot of them have.
I think Miss Marvel had good comedy, but that's also fits a little bit more into what its tone is.
Yeah. the tone, right? You can have a lighter tone and not be or a lighter tone with some comedy without being the genre of comedy, right?
Right.
There are a couple What If episodes that are like straight. That's what they were going for.
The Thor party.
Yeah, the Thor party was like
That's
all jokes.
Yeah.
If we're just going to talk about shows, but the thing is, like, I'm kind of glad they're focused on a plot. Like, I hate to say it, but I'm starting to agree with the people's criticisms of Love and Thunder, where it just it was like swinging for the fences of moves we've already seen from that style of comedy.
Sure.
And it did take Jane Foster's worthiness away from her, because Thor's the one that bestowed it upon the hammer to protect her.
Yeah. I saw somebody's, I can't remember who the TikTok user was now, but I thought they summed it up nicely, which was like, in the comics, the Mighty Thor story is Jane's story.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's Thor's story that Jane is also in.
Yeah.
Which is, I read that and I was like, damn, yeah. And as someone who really loves the Jason Aaron run as a whole, I was like, yeah, that is pretty much a good way of summing up the biggest flaw in that movie.
At its core. But
so talking about the tones of the shifting tones and whatnot, I think that to go back to this point, I do feel like She-Hulk's intent is to be a comedy. You know what I mean? And you have the character Pug, who's like, here's the best map for the best bathroom to poop. Like, it's a comedic show. When you have lines like that, or like Captain America Fox, like, it's a comedic show at the end of the day.
What accent was he trying to do? Because
for Paul.
For Pug. His name was Pug.
I don't have an answer to that. He has a himbo accent, I think.
I thought he was going to have a power, because when he walked in and he's just like, had that voice, I'm like, Paul who? Who do I know that's a superhero that's named Paul?
He's not Paul. His name's Pug or something.
His name's Pug. Yeah, he's from the Dan Slott run. He's just like a guy.
Which is funny because the actor played Prometheus in Arrow.
Oh, really?
The best Arrow villain.
Oh, that's crazy.
There was a
Did he also have contingency plans that he stole?
Arrow was going downhill, and then the Prometheus season was the best season.
Huh. They
like brought it out of nowhere. It was like,
did they adapt Tower of Babel to that season? I'm sorry, it's just that's all I know about Prometheus.
Tower of Babel's not Prometheus.
That's Ra's al Ghul.
Oh,
well,
okay.
yeah.
But he is in that. He is in that 90s JLA.
He is in that run. He's in the one with the ghost.
He's in the Morrison part.
Yeah. He's in the Morrison run where he infiltrates the Justice League Watchtower.
Okay.
He does have a computer brain though.
That helmet. Yeah.
The Knight's helmet.
No, but the Prometheus in the show is a little bit different. But yeah, anyway, it's so weird because he was such a he was the biggest villain, I think, in Arrow, and now he's just Pug, the himbo.
the exchange rate on DC to Marvel, I'm sorry, it's like not like crypto. It's volatile. Ezra Miller, maybe not. Batwoman, maybe not. But what are your thoughts on the Sakaran ship? Like, I didn't want to say.
Thank you for bringing that up because I forgot about it. I think I
don't care.
No, I think I.
I thought that's what you were gonna say. I think Paul. No.
Well, I'm excited by it.
I don't think that we will know what's going on this season. It's to take Hulk off the board for whatever happens this season, and also I think the writers are smart enough to not be like, oh, this is She-Hulk's show, but we're gonna make the show about Scar.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think is happening. I think that ship came to take Hulk to meet his son.
Yeah, I think it's somehow connected to that as well. Because we had 2 years where he's on Sakaar. We don't know what he was up to.
He's looking buff. He got a new, fresh haircut. Who's not sleeping with the Hulk on Sakaar? You know?
I think it could easily be like...
Yeah, he was a
I'm
beefcake.
excited by it. I'm excited by it because I love the Planet Hulk story.
Me too.
And while I do like Thor Ragnarok, I was a little bummed because I was kind of like, oh, well, I guess this means we're not going to get a true Planet Hulk. And now it kind of feels like, oh, we might be getting a true Planet Hulk, just maybe a little bit different. Like I could foresee it being like the Grandmaster getting overthrown, leaves a power vacuum, the Red King takes over, and now he has to go back to help his wife and son free Sakaar. You know, like I could foresee them backdooring their way into something like that.
The stipulation that Universal will not allow is that Hulk gets a solo movie. Hulk can be in these shows. He can be in the Avengers. He can, you know, guest star or whatever, but he can't have his solo movie.
I do want to correct you a little bit because I think there's some confusion about it. They have right of first refusal, which basically means that if they were to do a Hulk movie, Universal would get a large chunk of the profit.
Okay.
So Disney's kind of like, it's basically like the Sony deal with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Disney's kind of like, we don't want to split the money for a Hulk movie. We don't want to be put in a scenario where you could possibly like, you know, take a percentage of that profit from us. So we're just not going to do a Hulk movie.
There's no expiration date though, right? As far as I know.
So there was a rumor I read, and this is all, you'll hear why in a second. I want to put this with the biggest grain of salt.
Yeah.
But the Iron Man, Captain America characters, they were originally part of a Paramount deal, distribution deal. And that I believe was bought out by Disney when Disney bought Marvel. The deal, someone found an interview of some kind where they were like, Paramount and Universal had similar deals. And the Paramount deal was for 15 years. So the theory is if the Universal deal is a 15-year deal, it would end in 2023. Based on when it was initially signed.
Okay. Or
so yeah, go ahead.
I have an or. They literally the movie is just called Scar, Son of Hulk.
I mean, yeah, that would be a smart way around it.
It just but it's about Scar, but you really have it's about Bruce meeting his son, blah blah blah. We see him kick ass, but it's called Scar, Son of Hulk, and that's all you need.
That actually is brilliant. Yeah, that's
thank you.
The perfect way around it. No, I genuinely like. No one suggested that, and that's actually the easiest way around that. That's
because you get the Hulk name in the title.
Yeah,
but it's not about the Hulk. It's about Scar.
Right.
So
he's been part of the ensemble.
I think a Disney lawyer could easily be like, I know you're saying Universal. I know you're saying that Hulk is in the title of this movie, but they're saying he's not. It's not the Hulk. It's the Son of Hulk. It's literally in the title.
In Disney Legal now?
What's that?
Jen Walters is working at Disney Legal, figuring out all these Hulk loopholes for them.
Yeah.
Oh, the guerrilla marketing that Jamila is doing. She's like going up and she's putting like our Titania posters on
or
ads
like graffiti,
and stuff,
right?
And graffiti. Yeah. So that's really cool.
We need to see her again because like she just popped into the first episode. Okay. And then that's it. Like
it's heavily edited, and then they like caught you up in the beginning of the episode in a news like reel.
Yeah, and which again leans into that whole what was the first episode originally going to be. I think there's a lot of question of like what that pilot initially was versus what it became.
Are we missing footage of like her meeting Titania?
No, it was what I was saying before, how initially the pilot was not the origin story, and they decided to go back and change that.
Yeah.
Because the origin was initially going to be episode 8, and then they watched it and were like, takes too long to get to the origin, let's just make it the first episode.
Oh, but they probably cut episode, that's why it's out of...
Yeah, I think there's maybe more to, like the fight scene, for example. The fight scene feels like it was a longer sequence that they chopped down a lot.
It was like 3 bits.
Yeah. It feels like it was something longer that they had to edit for time, and who knows?
It was like the series finale. Go on.
I was just going to say, I'm very curious as to what Titania's backstory is going to be in the show.
She's a
they're going to bring
social
in
media
Beyonder?
influencer. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because her origin in the comics is like, she's like a poor, for lack of a better word, like trailer park kid.
Yeah.
Who, is like small her whole life and wants to be a superhero.
And then
is
Beyonder
given powers by Dr. Doom.
Oh, is it Dr. Doom?
But it's during Secret Wars.
Who gives
it's during
Volcana her powers?
Also Doctor Doom.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. He was like, hey, what's up? This Beyonder guy pulled us in. You want to get some powers? And they were like, sure. So yeah, I'm curious to see what the backstory is going to be and how it's been changed for.
Did Doom wear the mantle of Power Broker? Like what?
That was kind of what it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
to be
that's really
fair,
funny.
Doom has a right hand called Victorious. Is that her name? Do you know?
I believe so, yeah.
It's his
I know
like
who you're speaking of.
it's his like bodyguard / hopeful wife, but then she sleeps with Johnny Storm, and Doom curses Johnny Storm to not be able to turn off his fire.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. So currently, right now, Johnny Storm can't turn off his fire because Doom has cursed him, and Reed can't figure it out. And so Johnny has to wear like a suit on top of the fire. But Victorious, I think she's almost Amazonian looking, like Themysciran Amazonian looking, and she's Latvian, and she has powers which I assume are given to her by Doctor Doom. So it seems to me Doctor Doom is able to give powers, but he doesn't give it to just anybody. Right?
Yeah, you got to be in a very specific scenario with him, I guess. Stuck on Battle World, and he's like, I need some backup here. I'm going to give you some superpowers.
Right.
But yeah, I find Titania's story very interesting, so I'm excited to see how they do that with her in this.
Yeah, I need more of her. That's the problem right now. I'm not getting enough.
No, we're not talking about the show anymore, are we? Anyways,
I need more.
No, we are.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm just like, because we talked about last week, like all the crushes and just like phase 4 horror, since we're gonna use that.
Being a phase 4 horror.
Going down the list of like, ooh boy, I need to take a cold shower and a long walk.
Everybody's hot in phase 4. What is going on?
Yeah.
I think but although this getting back to She-Hulk for a second, I think an interesting thing in this episode is that we're kind of getting a better picture of what Jen's sort of arc is going to be for this series, which is like she can control She-Hulk. Like she has that pretty down pat. But now the problem is the push and pull between wanting a normal life and everybody wanting her to be She-Hulk, to the point where now it's even infested her professional life. Like the fact that Holloway was like, you have to be She-Hulk when you're here at work, was like, I'm like, this feels like an interesting allegory for like ways women are criticized for their appearance, especially in the workplace.
I
like,
was gonna say,
being expected to look a certain way and act a certain way.
Yeah, it would be like, look, you have to look presentable for work every single day. That means full face of makeup, straighten your hair.
Yeah.
Your hair's too curly. You gotta straighten your hair. You gotta wear high heels. Right?
Yeah.
None of those frumpy suits. You get your suits fitted, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they walk past the boardroom.
Brian, anytime you're on the Keeg, this is all for you. This is what we're asking of you. So
clean shaven.
I'll be
no,
really,
keep the beard, but I need some eyeshadow.
I'll be really glammed up when you see me on Comic Talk later.
Yeah.
The question that we don't know what Holloway asked, he just goes, how do you feel about that? And she's like, agnostic. And he's like, unprecedented or unconventional.
He was
something like that. Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
She's talking to the fourth wall.
Yeah.
In the hallway when he's like taking her to her office.
Yeah.
And she's not paying attention. And like that's kind of like a nice continuity thing. Because normally, if you're Zach Morris, you can just time out.
Right.
And then time freezes. But for her, she's actually doing it in real time as things are concurrently happening. And she didn't pay attention.
So she misses a question that he asked her, and she's like, I'm agnostic about it. And he's like, interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be worried about my response for the next year.
To figure that out.
This show is actually more comparable to Fleabag in the fourth wall breaking.
Sure.
Have you guys both watched Fleabag?
Mm-hmm.
I have not, but I feel like I've absorbed a lot of it through cultural osmosis.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a lot of
clips of it and stuff. Yeah,
it's a lot of Phoebe Waller-Bridge being like, I can't even do her accent. What act? Anyway, just
looking
like
at the camera and commenting on the going on.
Yeah, she like steals things like from her family just because she can.
No, but she'll turn to the camera. retort. And then the only guy who calls her on it or notices that she does it is the priest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very John
similar
Cusack.
to what you were. It's similar to what you were describing, though, Paul. Where it's like it's in real time. It's not like she's Zach Morris freezing time,
right.
and yeah.
Right. As we close up this episode, I want to ask, what do we think is going to happen? I am super jealous that the people who went to the premiere got to see the first 4 episodes, because that seems to me like something like that would be what I would have wanted. I would have loved that, But we're here now. We watched 2 episodes. What do we think is going to happen in the next 7?
Wong is next.
Yeah,
because we started.
Oh, Wong's next. You think?
Next episode, because Emil
how this one ended. Yeah, I feel like he could be next week.
Yeah, that's the bridge. Just because we need to get questions and answers.
Question. Yeah.
That underground fighting. It'd be great is Simu dropped in.
He gets called to the stand.
To
talk about what he observed at the fighting arena. Yeah,
I have no doubt that Simu says, "Hey, whatever show wants to have me cameo, I'll cameo." And Marvel's like, "Good to know, but we'll figure it. We'll figure out whether you're necessary." But I'm sure Simu's jumping at it. I don't think Simu's turning it down.
I would love just a bad green screen of him where he's clearly in a sound booth with Boba Tea in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Whoa, that's She-Hulk," or something. I don't know.
Here's a question. What is the time of this episode? Because Duck Dodger says, does this take place before Shang-Chi?
No,
I don't think Abomination.
It has to be after.
Right.
The
footage is saying that this footage was been revealed that he did this. So he went out of jail and then back into jail, right?
Right.
Not that he just escaped right now to go fight in a fight.
It was footage leaked online, or somehow it got picked up.
Yeah, so we got to figure out this timeline then. Somebody's gonna have to. When it's
post Shang-Chi at some point,
right? But is Shang-Chi post that Christmas? That's at the end of No Way Home and Hawkeye.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
It's one of those things where I'm just kind of when did the movie come out? Yeah, that's about what.
No, but that's in the future. The MCU is in the future right now.
Yeah, whatever.
The blip happened in what? 2024. Or the unblip.
I've stopped trying to figure it out. I'm just kind of I get roughly when it happened. We're good.
It's 5 years after 2000. Oh, 5 years after 2018. So 2023. Yeah.
We're almost there. So it's fine.
Yeah. What are we gonna find out in Quantum Mania?
The pandemic is the best thing to happen to Marvel's timeline, because they're like, oh shit, we can catch up to 5 years now.
No joke, it is crazy how the blip became this perfect metaphor for the pandemic. It really is hilarious. Not hilarious, but it's just such a crazy bit of happenstance.
Yeah.
That they can basically talk about COVID and the way we're all emotionally feeling about it without having to address COVID.
And when people are like, why, or you're telling me people will go back to normal? And it's people went back to normal now.
Well, kind of normal, but the SBA loan in Falcon and the Winter Soldier really hit close to home.
Yeah.
Because they actually mentioned
they asked whether the Avengers pay, right?
Yeah, I was good. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the callback, because when I was sitting there, people were doing videos essays about it. We're Tony's enemies during Civil War, that guy, they're gonna pay him, and he's already still on the military budget.
Yeah.
So it's no, he's not going to pay him. That's not,
though
he was a fugitive for at least several months, and then got blipped. There's a lot of reasons his financials are not in proper order at that point.
But if Tony was smart or a good person, he would have been no, he doesn't have to pay it right then and there. But he's if I die and if things are good, it's fine. It's not like they killed him. You know what I mean? They weren't villains. Right. They were on the run and they had to get arrested or whatever in Tony's mind. You know what I'm saying?
Well, also they were dead. They were blipped, right? So they didn't even know they'd come back. And he died during the battle against Thanos. So it's I can't get legal here faster, to sign all your workman's comp.
The lawyers running through the battlefield with their folder, I need you to sign on the dotted lines.
Even better, he calls Veronica from up above, and then she just shoots down like this lawyer buster, and he's just like, "Please sign here and a waiver and
You're
retainer
like
fees."
A lawyer robot? Oh,
like a lawyer suit.
I'm just imagining.
Yes,
I'm imagining one of the portals opens and it's just like an army of people in suits and briefcases like charging out of the battlefield.
Can you imagine in the final scene? In the final scene, they needed signatures from every person. So they're
sign here.
Please. And so they swoop down, they sign, and they go up. It's like, okay, all right.
And then they go to Hulk, and he's still got his arm all wrecked. It's like, I'll come back to you. And he goes to Winter Soldier, and his arm's on the ground. He's like,
he picks his arm up, and he uses his arm to
someone from the is it TVA?
Yeah.
Time variance. Yeah. They go back to when Thor cuts off Thanos' arm. He's like, "You should have went for the head." Yeah, but we need a.
We do need your John Hancock here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, right here. Okay, sorry. What your date here?
Thanos has these small glasses. Fear me, dread me. Okay, I said that. I am inevitable. All right, we're good.
Oh man, yeah. So they didn't do that. So
I forget what I was gonna say, but yes, okay. Thank you guys so much for coming on and talking with me.
Of
and
course.
Doing the She-Hulk after show with me. Before we get going, Paul.
Okay.
Oh, what you got to say?
One last thing.
What?
Emil's prison, is that the Triskelion repurposed? Because I remember a bridge. I remember when Captain America drove it, and there were just
DOTC, Division Damage Control, right? Department of Damage Control.
Or did the helicarriers floating over it destroy everything? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Sorry. You can find me on Mr. Plow on social media, and then Paul Lau Jokes on Twitter.
Okay.
So
Paul Lau is an LAO. Lau.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is my font funky? No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, if somebody's listening to the podcast, they might be like, Paul Lau. What is Lau? Like, you know what I mean?
No, you're right. I've had people call me Paul Lowe, and I'm just like,
yeah,
no,
LOWE.
Paul Lowe Writer. Yep.
Yeah. But Paul, thank you so much for being co-host of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always a pleasure. And Brian Long, where can we find you? What do you got coming up?
You can find me on TikTok at Captain Comic Rex. That's RECS, like recommendations. That's pretty much the best place to follow me. I'm putting out roughly every day a new video, giving recommendations, talking about fun facts about comics, things of that nature. And that's it. Support your local public schools. Show up to those school board meetings. Stop these fascists from banning books.
Yeah, 300,000 teachers. The Ohio strike.
Yeah,
that's a long line.
It's crazy. But
yeah,
good for them. Solidarity with them. Good luck to them.
Mm-hmm. For real.
I can't wait for more episodes. I want to see more episodes. So
same.
That's why we're having this after show. We're gonna talk about it all. Thank you guys so much for watching out there, Duck Dodgers, Vaga, if you're watching. I'm not sure. For the love of comics, if you're still here, Michael. No shout out to the guy who was spamming on YouTube with literally 10 different accounts. Fuck off. Not only making my life tougher, but probably making his parents' life tougher. Probably making the women in his life their lives tougher. Just being a shithead and making everybody's life worse because he's in it. Sorry, dude, out there. I don't care.
Sorry, little dude.
Yeah, for everybody who gave this show 1 star on IMDb before even seeing it. Call your mom. Get a life. Touch grass.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of names for those guys. Do
anything else with your time, please.
Yeah, I called them 4chan tellers.
That's pretty good.
4chan tellers. Interesting. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. If you're online on social media, follow The Keeg wherever you get your social media at The Keeg Show. TikTok and Instagram are the main ones. We're also on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. We stream live to twitch.tv/The Keeg Show and youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Our Patreon is patreon.com/The Keeg Show if you want to give back to the Keeg in any way, shape, or form. It helps us out, and it is appreciated. You just find the tier that works for you. Other than all that, that's pretty much it. Oh, podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We are all over the place, so pick your poison. Pick your poison. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being on this show. Once again, I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira, and this has been the She-Hulk After Show, talking about episode 2. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Super fast, gotta beat the boss and get the loot, 'cause it's the king.